test. Dialer phones connected. Initiating broadcast signal in
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, this is the Nerd World Order broadcast. I am the man that you can call Dukes, and to my right, it's all about the...
Booyah! What's up? It's your boy Joe, baby.
And to my other right, weighing in at 178 adamantium filled pounds, Alfonso X-Man Flores.
You fight great, but I'm a great fighter.
I don't know what that quote's from, but I'm sure Alfonso will be able to explain it later. I'm hoping that quote is from a Carl Weathers movie, because that's what we're going to be discussing today. Carl Weathers, remembered, he recently passed away, and we wanted to take a moment, slow down, and remember the fine actor that is Carl Weathers. Speaking of Weathers, Alfonso X-Man Flores, how you doing today with the weather in California?
You know, it's really not so bad out here. You know, you got a couple storm drains that have kind of clogged up, and it's just, you know, curbs are a little ridiculous right now. I was afraid to put my trash out because I only had like 2 or 3 trash bags in there. I didn't want it to float away. But it's lightened up quite a bit this afternoon. Out here in Orange County, the weather is bad. No, you know, I got to see the sun come out. It was funny. I was looking over towards Riverside. It was really dark. And then I was looking over towards the beach. Sun was coming out. Clouds were parting. It was glorious.
Actually sounds pretty cool. How's life in San Diego right now, Joe?
Raining on and off. You know how, like, when your kids were small, they come and turn on the light. Turn off the light. Turn on and off. That's what it's like. Only in California, it rains, then all of a sudden it gets sunny, then it rains again, then it gets sunny.
Well, as long as you're staying safe out there when you're on the roads, it's all good as
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned. So, transitioning back to weather, talking about Carl Weathers today. I'm just going to be up front because it's going to come across in the conversation. I liked Carl Weathers during the tail end of his acting career. At the beginning, I didn't like his stuff too much. And we'll go into why in a little bit as we run through these movies. But you know, I'm just really excited to pay him some respect, because by the end of his career, I was loving everything that he did, which made me enjoy his other stuff so much more. Let's see here. I think the place that we all remember him first, of course, is Rocky. So, Alfonso X-Man Flores, why don't you talk about your experiences? Why did you love Carl Weathers and Rocky?
Carl Weathers was, you know, started off, he was the champ. You know, he was a pretty boy who moved gracefully. You know, everything he did was poetic. And then you had Rocky, who was, you know, just this, like, I could take a hit, right? Carl Weathers, every action he did was smooth. You know, everything he said was smooth. You know, he'd come out and he'd dance around. It was loosely based on Muhammad Ali, I heard. But Carl Weathers, I mean, you know, he was a bad guy, or he wasn't a bad guy. He was a protagonist in these movies, but he, you know, they were looking for somebody just to, you know, have an easy fight. They wanted to, oh, we'll give somebody a local town hero a chance, you know. And they brought in Rocky, and you know, Rocky was able to take it to him. So you got to see him, you know, from being like this obnoxious, kind of rude, arrogant type fighter to like being a little bit humbled and even a little bit scared. And, you know, with Rocky 1, Rocky was a star, but Apollo still won the first fight. Into Rocky 1, his hand was raised.
So I have a question for you, because I don't remember the Rocky movies that well. Go figure. Now, was he the first choice to be Apollo Creed?
No, they actually had somebody else. I saw that earlier today. Can't quite put my finger on it. I'm not sure if it was an actual boxer or if it was another football player. Because, you know, Carl Weathers used to play for the Oakland Raiders before he was an actor.
Is that when they actually won?
Yeah, he took them to their first, not Super Bowl, but what's the one before Super Bowl? World Series?
No, bro.
I'm a nerd.
So since Alfonso decided to drop Super Bowl, I'm just going to name drop. If you want to see me in Vegas this weekend for Super Bowl,
Oh dang.
feel free to holla at your boy. I'll be in
Yeah.
Vegas.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? You gonna go
Yeah.
to the Super Bowl, or are you just gonna be in Vegas?
Come on, my bro. You know me better than that. It just so happens Adele has a concert that weekend, so I'll be going.
How many
to
concerts have you been to? I feel like you've been like every year you go to an Adele concert.
I've probably never been to an Adele concert before.
Was it just a wifey? I could have
No,
sworn
she's never been either.
I
Bro,
get
she's
so
been.
confused, man.
No.
You go to so many concerts, bro. I'm like, you don't even like this music, bro. Ah, the married life.
Yeah, maybe you're thinking Beyonce.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody who's Adele adjacent.
Yeah, Adele adjacent. Someone else that you'll
Because
like.
I think you went to an Anthony Hamilton too one time, right?
Oh yeah, dude, that was actually.
I was like,
good.
bro, you don't listen to Anthony Hamilton, bro. Name me a song.
No, I have listened to Anthony Hamilton because I listened to it with the wife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Married
you're
life.
driving.
Mhm.
You have that playlist specifically for like driving places with the wife, and
Mhm.
Anthony Hamilton's on there.
Interesting.
Yeah, he does a pretty dope song with Jill Scott called "So in
Mm.
Love." You should check it out. I think you'd like it actually.
Maybe.
Both
Yeah.
of these names are not familiar to me at all.
But you know whose name is familiar? Carl Weathers. So
Yes,
I
sir.
apologize for derailing. Let's get back on topic. I'm going to Vegas.
I'm gonna be in
So-
Vegas out 16th or so.
Oh, nice. You should have
Yeah.
timed it. We could all gone together, but hey, thanks for letting me know.
Next time.
So I don't remember Rocky that well. And the reason that I didn't care for Carl Weathers at the start of his career is I felt like he was always like the guy who was there to make the white guy look good. Kind of like the sidekick.
Right.
And so, I mean, great actor, okay, but I feel like his roles were always kind of like that second fiddle,
Mhm.
And so that's why I really didn't care for him, as charismatic as he may have been. I just didn't like his characters because I'm like, if you're that good, why can't you be the dude? Why is it always got to be like, whether it be Dutch, which we'll get into in a little bit, or Rocky, he always had to elevate that person rather than be elevated himself. What are your thoughts on that, Joe?
I guess I can talk about it maybe tomorrow. Oh wait, there is no tomorrow.
There is no tomorrow, Rock.
That wasn't from Rocky 3, Alan, because I know you didn't watch those movies.
I watch him. I just don't remember nothing. So
You don't remember that dope ass speech that he did to Rocky when he was me a quitter, bro?
was
Very motivational.
was Rocky 3 Clubber Lang or
Yeah.
Okay.
He was training him. And so he was just like, Rocky was giving up, bro. And he was just like, and then he went on a speech like, there is no tomorrow. Dope. Dope. You should rewatch it, bro. Like, I get what you're saying, like, but about him hyping up the white man, but I thought his character and the way he was so strong. That character doesn't get elevated if you don't have a strong one to get him there.
Right.
And that's
I
how I
agree.
felt about that. And, he was really good in it. I was such a fan of his in those movies more so than Rocky that as a kid, I think was I in seventh or was it seventh or eighth grade? Maybe I can't remember. Maybe it was freshman. Where he died in Rocky 4. I didn't like that. I thought that was kind of whack because
That's tough.
like I was like, throw in the towel, throw in the towel, and they wouldn't throw in the towel. I'm like, throw in the towel. You know what I mean? Everybody was feeling like his trainer's crying, throw in the towel. And like, damn, Rocky, you suck, bro. You know what I mean? Now, Rocky 4, if you wanted to make an argument of him elevating a white character, it'd be that movie.
Yeah.
If you really want to get technical about it, because he dies and then Rocky becomes almost like a better fighter and stronger mentally.
Yeah.
If you wanted to take that argument on that, I could see Rocky 4 being that movie. But I thought like Rocky 1 and 2, they're pretty even. And then Rocky 3, he trains him to be just as good as him. Because if he doesn't train Rocky, Rocky doesn't beat Clubber Lang. If you take that argument, so for him to beat Clubber Lang, like, but then again, I don't know, man. Rocky 4 kind of disappointment, bro. It's like Apollo dies in it, so it's like I thought that was kind of whack.
Yeah, I agree, and it's like I said, like, hey, I guess I looked at it like, hey, this guy's like really cool,
Mhm.
but I felt like he could never take center stage. And I guess
Mhm.
that's what bothered me is, he's cool, but no center stage.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of saw him in the same way, like in the Karate Kid, right? You got Daniel LaRusso, who's just like a nobody. He comes in and he learns karate real quick, and he fights him. You know, he fights the guy Joey Lawrence, who is the actual Karate Kid. He's the one who trained from a little kid all the way up. He trained his whole life. He worked on it, and then Daniel LaRusso comes and takes it away from him, right? So that's the thing about like Apollo. Apollo was a trained, seasoned boxer. He was top of his game, and Rocky came and take it away from him. So it's like, you know, the actual boxer is Apollo. Rocky was just a guy who could really take a hit. And
Yeah.
that's why
Mhm.
when I was starting to think about like I want to watch something to memorialize them, I did watch Rocky 3 and I watched Predator as well, but I chose Rocky 3 because that's the one, where he goes back and he trains Rocky. Because with Clubber Lang just hit too hard, so Rocky can't just sit there and take shots and let him try to wear himself out and
Mhm.
then come in at the end because he's gonna get knocked out. And actually,
Mhm.
there was he did lose a fight the first time and he had to come back for a comeback. So when Carl Weathers was training him, he showed him, a little bit of rhythm because he had no
Mhm.
rhythm. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
He showed him how to dance. He showed him how to bob and weave. That was one thing Rocky never did was bob and weave. He taught him important life lessons. He wasn't chasing a chicken like with Mick. He was running on the beach. Now, the fact that he beat Carl Weathers in a race, I'm pretty sure Carl let him have that for a little bit of ego, a little bit of
Mhm.
pride. But man, that he had his trainer with him. He had all his boys, and it was so good. They brought him in their world. They taught him a new way to fight, and they elevated his game so that he could be
Right.
somebody new, somebody better.
And the soundtrack was good too.
Oh yeah,
Was that Living in America?
That
No.
was Eye of the Tiger.
was-
No, that
movie.
was 4. That was
4.
4.
Yeah.
I had
Eye
the
of the
tiger. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I was thinking about that too. Was Eye of the Tiger wasn't in 1 and 2?
No.
No, it was just
No.
a dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh man. Yeah, that was impactful.
Yeah. Excellent point, Joe. That
Mm.
soundtrack was definitely like
Yeah.
that. Just Eye of the Tiger, like when you hear it, it's like you get hyped.
Oh,
Yeah.
You just feel that, like you remember those training
Yeah,
montages.
dude. Rising up. What is it? Rising
Back
up.
on the streets.
Yeah. To my time, to my glory. Went the distance, now I'm back in my. So I can't remember. It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's like you forget the lyrics and then you play it and you start to remember the lyrics. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's probably on everybody's gym playlist.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
no, not mine, but I'm going to have to add it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those training montages, dude. Those are always
Mhm.
the best.
Yeah. So let's talk about what I feel like is Carl Weathers' most overlooked movie. Like, I feel like it's kind of like what I wanted from him, which was a leading role, but it just didn't catch on, and that's Action Jackson. So, I'll start it off. I feel like when Action Jackson came onto the scene, look at me, I'm just having a lisp now. Action Jackson. You try saying it. I feel like just his name, like you couldn't take it seriously.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's the thing about, I'll just say in general, like the black action heroes or like lead characters, they had to be cooler than cool. They had to be like beyond like just your standard. So instead of just having a name like, John Jackson or, Philip Jackson, he had to be Action Jackson, which just sounds like a joke.
Mhm.
And from there, it's kind of like they didn't play it exactly as straight and serious as they should. And so I think people just didn't know what to do with it. It's like this guy, we've seen him before. He's serious, but in this, he's kind of goofy, but he's also supposed to be like the romantic lead. And for me, I was just like, I want to like this movie, but you're just playing it too goofy for me.
Right. Yeah. I decided I wanted to watch it. I couldn't find it streaming anywhere, so I went ahead and I watched the trailer again, and it's all with a man that's so bad he doesn't carry a gun. Right?
Yeah, that's right. I remember him saying that.
And then you see the sergeant. He's like, "You see that, Jackson? That's why you don't get no gun." Oh man. But you know what, from the trailer, what I got out of it was it sounded like they were trying to do a carbon copy of Schwarzenegger, just a bunch of one-liners. And in my opinion, Carl Weathers is a much better actor than that. They should have gave him some better stuff to do than just shout out one-liners. So the way it sounded, it was almost like he was like Schwarzenegger and Batman too, when he's like, freeze, everybody freeze. It was they did him dirty. I think they could have done a lot better with that.
Yeah, but you got to remember those action movies in that time period. That's all they ever did was
Right.
copy
Yeah.
like the way Arnold and Sylvester Stallone at the time were king of that, and so anyone that was going to make that type of movie is going to have to try to do the same thing.
That's true. You need your catchphrase.
Yeah. Plus, it had
Yeah.
Vanity too. Vanity was
Oh,
fine back in the day.
Yeah.
She was the one in Purple Rain.
No, I know. I was
Okay.
I was trying to remember because I just watched a
I wasn't
Netflix
sure.
documentary on We Are the World, and I was like, no, that was Sheila E. That wasn't
Yeah.
Vanity. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Vanity was fine.
Bathe in the waters of Lake Minnetonka.
Fine.
Yeah. So that's pretty much all I have on Action Jackson. Joe, do you remember watching that like when it came out earlier? Did you have to rewatch it?
No, like I watched that like a long time ago. I barely remember what it was about until Alf, started talking about that trailer, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I remember him. That's why you don't have no guns. But yeah, the thing about it is like that was one of the movies that you never ever catch on any TV. You know what I mean? Like or any old movies. Like I got lost in Tubi because you always talk about Tubi.
Yes.
Yeah, and I seen some more. It's like, oh, I forgot about this movie.
Yeah, I was just watching Tubi right before we started recording, man. they got some pretty decent flicks on there.
Yeah.
I watched Ghosts of Mars last week. Digress, but man, it's just like movies like that. Like I would never watch it, but then it's like it's on, so you watch it. So yeah, yay Tubi.
Yeah. Like I saw just one of the guys. I was like, oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I remember that movie where she act like a dude.
Yeah. It's like a lot of times with Tubi, it's just
Mhm.
I remember that movie, and then you watch it.
Yeah, exactly. You watch it again.
Yeah. Speaking of Tubi, what's on Tubi right now? Listen to this transition. Is Predator. And speaking of Predators, yeah, we didn't plan that. Speaking of Predator, I feel like that was. I may take this back by the end of the conversation, but that was Carl Weathers' coolest movie, at least in my opinion. Like when he did the old, forearm handshake. Is that a handshake or I don't know what they were trying to do, but it's iconic. You know what I mean? Like when they did that, and everything about that movie is just like, it's just a cool movie. He's cool. It's a great action movie. I don't have enough good things to say about Predator. Alfonso claims, listen to this, ladies, gentlemen, and knights. He claims he actually watched it for the first time to prepare for this episode. So, Alfonso, I'll let you talk about the movie you saw for the first time this week.
On Tubi?
No. I found it on Hulu. Now, I have seen Predator many a time. It's Predator 2, Electric Boogaloo, that I hadn't seen too much. All right. With Danny Glover. But yeah, oh man. Predator, yeah, what they were doing is they do that little high five handshake thing, and it's almost like they're arm wrestling. But that's the best handshake in movie history, right?
Well, they did. I think it was like a almost like a arm wrestling match.
Yeah.
You lost a step.
Yeah,
I think he said something like that.
He's like, I don't want you to let it go. And he goes, no, you first.
Yeah.
Right?
But that's iconic because anytime they have a gift like that.
Yeah,
so anytime like someone takes care of me, I send them that gift. Everybody loves that. They're like they heart it or they laugh, because it's like signature, man.
Yeah.
And his arms just almost as big as Schwarzenegger's too. They were just like, they were jacked for that movie, man.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I'm watching this movie, and I forgot that Weathers was that CIA agent who actually called them in. They were this elite military team that would go in and take people out and do whatever they had to do to save people and everything. But he brought him in, and he didn't really tell him what it was for. He was saying that they were actually going to go in and save some captured civilians. And turns out it's like he needed a really strong team because something was out there killing his people, right? Leaving them all skinned and left for dead. And yeah, it was interesting because he's the whole time like Schwarzenegger's like, you better not be screwing me, he's like, something's going on here. He's no man, we got to go take care of this. And then next thing you know, Carl Weathers has he has this little, she wasn't Filipino, but little Venezuelan chick with him, and he's dragging her along because she's got information, but it was kind of cool. She was like one of the first people to realize certain things about him, about the Predator, like because she didn't have a gun, so he wasn't shooting at her at all. He only wanted to hunt the hunters. And man, that movie just got into the action so quick. I forgot how quick, it just like picked up. I was thinking it was going to be a little bit of a lull, getting into it, little hit and miss here, but nope. Right off the bat, Predator just started killing boys. It was just, oh man, it was so sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. I just had a thought, which is, and I know they can't do this because Carl Weathers' character died at the end of Predator or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine if he was in Predator 2 instead of Danny Glover. That would have been, dude, that would have been fire.
Bro, that's funny. I was just about to say that too.
Yeah.
Like, because I was thinking that too as you were talking, or Alf was talking about it.
Yeah.
And I was that went through my head too. I guess because we're talking about Carl Weathers. But dude, I would have watched that one, dude. Fucking Alf probably would have watched Predator 2 for once if Carl Weathers is in it.
Yeah, Alfonso would have actually watched it.
Yep. If it was Carl Weathers, I'd have been all about it.
That would have been like the perfect like tie-in,
Yep.
Yeah.
Or it would have been dope if he wasn't in the first one and he just was in the second one.
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And that may have been a vehicle, like a movie that would actually, people would take him seriously rather than goofy Action Jackson.
Yeah, man. Dude, that movie was so iconic. I mean, so many, one-liners, to get to the choppa, everything about it. And don't forget, we had that JVC podcast recently, and Jean-Claude Van Damme was originally supposed to be the Predator. And because he wasn't able to do the costume and the hydraulics things that they had from the stilts that they had for him, they actually had to change the whole Predator costume. So in actuality, Van Damme saved the Predator project because they got a much more iconic Predator.
Yeah. I mean, you're right, because that we've all seen that original Predator costume. Oof. It just looked goofy.
Right.
Yeah. So, everything we described so far about Carl Weathers has been his more serious stuff. Yeah. But as we transition, I feel like he really showed us what he could do. And I feel like this is when I started liking him more, because it was like, well, damn, he was still the sidekick. Kaboom. Yeah. But anyway, Happy Gilmore is complete change as far as all these other things. He's like the big action hero guy, but in this one, he was comedic, and it wasn't about his muscles. It was about him as a mentor, which was very cool. It's funny because that's how my son associates Carl Weathers. Like, he came in and he's like, "Hey, Carl Weathers died." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's pretty sucky." And he goes, "You don't know who that is, do you?" It's like Joe. He's like channeling Joe. He goes,
You don't know
who that is, do you?" And I was like, "Yeah, he was in like Rocky. He was in Predator. He was a Mandalorian." And he goes, "He was Chubbs." I was like, "That's right. That's, kids who grow up watching Happy Gilmore movies, the Happy Gilmore movie, that's how they see him." And I think it's really cool because we saw him as action hero star, but at least for me, I accepted him in this role as like as being more of this comedic character, more of this mentor. So he did a great job in that, because it made me forget Rocky, Predator, everything like that, and I just saw him as Chubbs. How about you, Alfonso?
He was a golf pro, right? He was the one who basically took Happy Gilmore and tried to, and he lost his hand in a accident on a alligator attack or something. Mm-hmm. Oh man, yeah, he did a really good job. He was he busted his comedic chops. He did so good. Yeah, they even how like Adam Sandler's his what is his Happy Gilmore or whatever. No, it's
Happy
Happy Madison Productions. It's like a shared universe almost, right? So I don't know if you guys saw the movie Little Nicky, but Chubbs actually made an appearance in Little Nicky. Little Nicky is basically like the son of the devil, and like I don't know if it was in heaven or hell where they ran into him, but he made an appearance in that movie. Cool story.
What did he do in that? Because I don't remember.
He was Chubbs. He was Chubbs. Like I can't remember if it was like it was in an afterlife scene, and he saw Chubbs, and that's all I remember.
Really?
Yeah, I can't remember if
Wow.
it was heaven or hell.
But now I'm going to digress. You're
Mhm.
telling me that the Happy Madison characters, it's like a shared universe?
I'm pretty sure. You know,
Interesting.
I think it's a shared friend universe where
Yeah.
he has all his friends in there. Like, yeah, if you said that, I could see that.
Yeah, yeah. But Joe, what's your thoughts on Happy Gilmore?
I thought the movie was good. I enjoyed it. I like those little Adam Sandler movies. I mean, some of them I didn't watch, but like I have my favorites. But he was good in it. Chubbs was dope in it. You know, trying to teach somebody how to play golf. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, yep. So I'm gonna let Alfonso roll down. Let's call it, or stroll down. What we'll call is random trivia. Let's just call it random trivia because Alfonso actually does like all the research. So Alfonso, give us some interesting facts.
all right. So at the beginning, yeah, I originally my quote for the beginning was going to be "There is no tomorrow, Rock," but it was a little sad to me, so I went with "You fight great, but I'm a great fighter." That is from Rocky. I believe it was Rocky 4, but he's like, "You fight great, but I'm a great fighter." When he was trying to convince him, whether or not because Rocky was going to fight the Russian at first, but then Paul's like, let me do it," so he went in and did it. So that's where that is. And Chubbs made his appearance in Little Nicky. Toy Story. I know you guys remember the first Toy Story where you had the kid next door, Sid, and Sid blows up a Combat Carl, which was a little white G.I. Joe looking guy. But in Toy Story 4, they brought in Combat Carl, and it looked more like Carl Weathers, and it was voiced by Carl Weathers. So because of Carl Weathers, Combat Carl was changed into a black character. It was pretty awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Never saw it.
You never saw? Oh, dude, Toy Story 4 was tough, man.
Animation. No.
Pulls at the heartstrings. Oh, and then they say he passed away at 76. It was early February, just a few days ago, but he had actually just turned 76. His birthday was January 14th. So, man, it's still too young for a classic there, man.
Yeah.
Oakland Raiders linebacker. He also went to Long Beach Poly High School, pretty close by me, so it's kind of close to home. And then from there he went to Long Beach City College, played football, and then from there he graduated from San Diego State playing football. So after that he had his career with the Oakland Raiders. So it's like closer to my hometown, closer to your hometown. So he's all over the place there.
Nice.
I know we got a lot of nerds out there who like to play Mortal Kombat, right? I played Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3, but they got a little much for me. I didn't have all the time in the world, but in Mortal Kombat X, he played Jax. So that was pretty cool, man. I'm going to have to check that out just for that. And I know with all,
I have a question for you on that.
yes,
So if I were to play Mortal Kombat X,
yes.
Jax would look like Carl Weathers.
No, it's just his voice. Jax looks like Jax.
Okay. I'm calming down now. You can go ahead. Sorry.
But yeah, what's cool about these newer I don't even know which one they're on. If it's Mortal Kombat X is the newest one, but they're bringing in people like Freddy Krueger. They're bringing in Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator. So it's like, who knows? Maybe we'll get a Carl Weathers out of this or an Apollo Creed. Let's see. I don't know if you guys ever watched Arrested Development. More my kind of humor. I love that he played himself in that, and he was actually being a drama coach for one of the characters who was trying to become an actor. And it's so funny because like the guy they were having lunch together, and he just finished his rib and he's about to put it down the plate. He goes, hey, you're not done with that rib yet, are you? Look at that. There's still meat on the bone. He goes, you throw that in a pot with some water, some potatoes, and some onions, you got yourself a stew. And it's like he had like, it was like an ongoing joke. He just always wanted to make stew. He was always wanting to eat stew. So I'm gonna have some stew, to respect Carl Weathers there. Kung Fu legendary, not legendary journey. Kung Fu, the original Kung Fu with David Carradine. Carl Weathers actually was in one episode playing a guy named Bad Sam. Now I was looking around on TikTok trying to find, a clip of it. All I found was just him like in a hat, just saying, can't go in there. That was about it really. But man, I would have loved to see that episode. I might have to look it up. If you get a chance out there in podcast land, get a chance to check that out. Please let me know how it went. Man, this is even older. Now. Good Times. I don't know if you guys seen Good Times. Who played a dad in Good Times again? That was from Coming to America, the McDowell's guy.
That doesn't help us.
Anyways, regardless, so J.J. Walker was the main character on Good Times. He was also an artist, right? So he had this woman over and he was painting a picture of her in her boudoir so that she give it to her husband as a gift. So next thing you know, somebody's pounding on the door. Carl Weathers busting. He's gonna beat up JJ, and he's like, because he thinks they're sleeping together. And I don't know if you guys remember Jimmy Walker. He was this really really thin guy, and Carl Weathers has him by the neck, and he's like, how are you gonna this guy? It's just like it made no sense whatsoever. So finally it came out. That was why I was asking about the dad, because he came in and he's like, you better let go of my son, and they were about to go at it, and the dad on Good Times, man, that was a dad you did not want to mess with. He was always ready to put the whip down on somebody. Let's see what else I got here.
Wait, you mean John Amos, right?
Yes, John Amos. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Google.
Yeah. Oh man, quick. You are on top of it. Now, when you think Carl Weathers and you picture his face, what's the one thing you notice the most in your mind? That beautiful mustache. Yes. 2016, he was inducted into the Mustache Hall of Fame.
So it's just him and Tom Selleck?
Probably. No, who was the other one? There's Tom Selleck and that other guy. I'm going to be there soon.
Let's see here. You got Wilford Brimley.
Oh. Charlie Chaplin.
Charlie Chaplin. Ooh, I'm not going to say the next one. Let's see here. Who's that cowboy guy? I think he was in
Larry the Cable Guy? No,
I can't remember. I cannot remember his name.
What about Hulk Hogan and his big old handlebar mustache?
See, I don't know. I never associate Hulk Hogan with his mustache at all. Yeah.
Oh, who else would be in there? Who has a good hand? We need one of those little pointy ones.
Villain mustaches?
Yeah. Snidely Whiplash.
Yeah. I worked with a guy once who tried to do the whole villain mustache, and it's just like, bro, find another way to get attention,
Right. Hey, did you guys watch Star Trek Deep Space Nine?
Yeah.
Okay, Cisco. Carl Weathers was up for the part of Cisco. Imagine how different that would have been if it was Carl Weathers.
See, he's just too cool to be Cisco. That's the problem with Carl Weathers, is until he did Happy Gilmore, in my opinion, he was just too cool to do any roles,
Right. And then the last on my list is of course Mandalorian. So we haven't talked about Mandalorian yet, have we?
As a matter of fact, we haven't.
I think that's a good way to transition to that. What are your thoughts on Mandalorian?
This is the way to transition. Very nice, Alfonso. Very nice. So,
it's a good thing you brought that. It's a good thing you brought that up because there is no tomorrow.
There is no tomorrow.
Oh man, I feel like you guys are just 1-2 punch. I liked the character he portrayed on The Mandalorian, but it took me about mid-season, maybe season 2, to actually start to like him, because I feel like it took them a little bit of while for them to flesh out his character and kind of make him more likable. And then when he became the emperor of that one poor person's planet, that was pretty cool too. I'll let you guys take it from here.
Yeah, I mean, I like. I agree, dude. Because like, you weren't sure if he was like trying to help out like Mando, or he was trying to jack him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And so like when he got his own, when he became like what was it, governor, I guess.
Mhm.
yeah, Emperor.
You knew which side he was going to be on. You know what I mean? Well, he wanted to do some good. So I thought that was pretty
Yeah.
cool. Character developed for him. I wish I would have got more dope action scenes from him.
Mhm.
I know he's like a bit older at that time when he was recording, but like it's Carl Weathers, bro. I want to see some dope fight scenes from the guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he could have. I mean, they have stunt doubles and stuff,
Mhm.
but it would have been nice to at least give the appearance that he was like swinging and landing
Mhm.
blows on people.
Right, because he's in good shape, bro. He wasn't like Boba Fett shape, where like you're like, bro, this guy's really doing these things, huh? I thought that fact they did a better job with his character development and him more believable as an emperor than Boba Fett and his little um Jabba the Hutt era or whatever you want to call
Right.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's almost like because they didn't have to focus on him,
Mhm.
they just gave him a really simple yet clear progression,
Yeah.
whereas Boba Fett was all convoluted and
Mhm.
boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grief Karga, that's the name of the character. I was looking it up. I'm like, it was on the tip of my tongue and I could not remember it. But yeah, it was a classic. Like that's the thing about Mandalorian. It's like a classic Western, right? So his character development is he's this old outlaw. He's living in this place on the outskirts of town that that there's no trade routes there. And then slowly but surely, every time you see him, he's done something a little different to the city, and it's growing and growing. And then until finally, he's got a trade route going. He built it. He built it all up, and there was a few scenes where he got to shoot some people. That was pretty nice. Um, he did. It was kind of cool because like you hadn't seen Carl Weathers in a long time. It kind of reminded me of Pulp Fiction with John Travolta. All of a sudden it's
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, that's right. Bring him on, and he has a certain presence about him. He's an imposing figure. He's got that deep voice that um, it was really great casting. Now I'm glad that Favreau and Filoni went ahead and brought him in.
Yeah, I always wonder how castings like that go because it's like out of nowhere comes Carl Weathers, but he does a great job. So I always feel like he, it's like friend of a friend, and then
Right?
he's like, ah, cool, let's just, throw in Carl Weathers.
Yeah, it worked out really good.
Yeah, definitely did.
Let's see. Yeah, he did a lot of voices on different cartoons too. The regular
What?
show, he was on the regular show, played the God of Basketball.
Wow.
Oh yeah,
He,
that's right, dude. I do remember that. That was a dope show, dude. The regular show.
yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard a lot about it, but never got a chance to watch it. He was on that show Psych. He played Floyd Boone. He was only on one episode. ER. I watch a lot of ER. The Comebacks. The Comebacks was one of those movies where it was like they were spoofing all those like Scary Movie for Scream, right? So the Comebacks was like spoofing all those sports movies where you got this town that's coming up, or you got this person who's come back, and it was just a big spoof movie. I don't know if you saw that at all. He was on the
Never seen it.
Shield.
He
Um,
was on the Shield.
he was on the Shield. Let's see, he had 2 episodes. He was Joe Clark, big bad Joe Clark. He
Wow.
was in Balto 3. That's that cartoon about a dog.
Yeah,
Eight Crazy Nights. There was another one for Adam Sandler. He played the GNC guy.
that I could see that.
There are a lot of B movies that I've never heard of, like Assault on Death Mountain, Assault on Devil's Island. Well, apparently it was an assault type thing. In the Heat of the Night. He was in the Heat of the Night. He was in 28 episodes of In the Heat of the Night. Really? Man, I'll have to go back and check that out.
Didn't Yeah, it was him with Carol O'Connor, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
he was a chief. Chief Hampton
Yeah.
Forbes.
Yeah, basically there was like an older Heat of the Night show, and
Oh,
then they
that's right.
redid it with him and Carol O'Connor. Was it Carol
Yep.
O'Connor? Yeah.
It's Carol O'Connor, yeah.
Yeah.
Street Justice. He played Adam Bordeaux. Hurricane Smith. Billy Hurricane Smith. That was a lead action movie. Totally a B movie. The cover of it looks just like Action Jackson. Toward Duty. Pointer Sisters. He Turned Me Out. He played Action Jackson in that. Oh, it was a music video.
Wow.
Dangerous Passion. There's Action Jackson, Predator, Fortune Dune, The Defiant Ones. That sounds familiar. The Defiant Ones. Colin Moore. James Brown did a Living in America video where he was Apollo Creed.
Oh yeah, it was Apollo Creed, of course.
Bracker, a TV movie. He was Lieutenant Harry Bracker, so he must have been a star of that too. Man, Force 10 from Navarone. I remember a lot of my dad would talk about the Navarone. What was it? I think there was another Navarone movie.
I think you're right.
Yeah, some war. Bermuda Depths, Semi-Tough, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. He's one of the military police in that.
Yeah, I'm sure he didn't. He wasn't featured.
Nothing too big. Serpico. He was in Serpico, man. One episode. Starsky and Hutch.
Oh, wow. That's kind of cool.
Barnaby Jones. That sounds familiar. He was in one episode of that.
No, I'm willing to say that the shows we're getting into now, a good 80% of the people who are listening have never heard of these shows.
$6 Million Man. He was Stolar.
Okay, so a few people have heard of the $6 Million Man.
Wait, we better call it the Bionic Man, because if you say the $6 Million Man, they're like, was he a baseball player?
Isn't that Ted DiBiase?
Yeah, man, Law and Order. Okay, but why is that on there from 1990? Man, I forgot how long Law and Order's been on TV, man. Since 1990, Law and Order's been on. He was in an episode in 2022.
Dude, Law and Order's been on since like the beginning of television, it seems like.
The newer Hawaii Five-0. That's been on the air since 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, right after Lost. What's her name? Grace
Pack?
Park? Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever I remember her.
Oh, and he was in an episode of The Renegade TV series.
Bro, I'm pretty sure the rest of the stuff that you're going to say we've never watched.
Yeah.
Well, you remember Renegade with Lorenzo Lamas, right?
Those are just too many honorable mentions.
Yeah.
That's just way too much. I'm already done, bro. Like,
rest in peace.
Yeah,
rest in peace. That's like a stroll down B-list lane.
Yeah, bro. I was thinking as you were saying that, man, he hasn't had that many hits on his own, but he is known.
Yeah. He was like a character actor.
That's what's dope.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So as I was listening to Alfonso read that list, I thought to myself, you know what? If you have someone you really don't like, then this would be a good time to have them subscribe to the Nerd World Order broadcast. Like, you know what? What you should do is, if there's someone you don't like, definitely tell them. You can tell your friends, you can tell your mom, you can tell your grandma, you can tell people you like, but especially stop and tell them this is something you have to listen to. So tell your friends, tell your enemies, especially subscribe to the Nerd World Order broadcast.
Because there is no tomorrow.
There's no tomorrow, Rock.
So tell them today. And this concludes this episode of the Nerd World Order broadcast. So until next time, even though apparently there is no tomorrow, ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, I am NWO.
We are NWO.
Nerds Redefined. Booyah!